one thing we forget about our brothers and sisters in Yoakum, Texas, and Brenham, Texas, and all these other towns in the country. And these are nice people too. But, you know, they hear about us, and guess what we have? Horns. I mean, if you listen, I ask you to do something at some time. Spend 1 week concentrated on right-wing radio and Fox News. I know it hurts.
Oh my God.
It hurts.
I can't do that.
And let me tell you why I did that. I wanted to feel what those people were feeling. And I'm going to tell you something, man. You guys scare the hell out of me. All right? I'm not kidding you. You guys scare the hell out of me. If you heard on Fox News and right-wing radio about who you are, you would be scared too. Okay? And what we don't do is we don't change the narrative. And we don't invest in changing the narrative. And that is what, we sit down and we are very smart. We are so damn smart, right? I went to 5 or 6 Beto events, and Beto could name why it is, and I talk about this on my talk show. Healthcare. The people in what I did hear Beto say on the campaign is, you are being assassinated by your people in Austin, by the guys who elect in Austin. The Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act was free for the first 3 years, and thereafter it cost you 10%. That's it. Our Republican legislature chose not to provide Yoakum, Texas, Brenham, Texas, and all these country towns healthcare. They're losing their hospitals. And whenever a hospital is lost, why don't we have the chairpersons of the different Democratic parties in those cities in front of that hospital saying, this is what Austin has done by not accepting the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act? We don't do that.
Republicans have done it.
They do that. They do that for things that don't really exist, right? They do that for things that aren't real. But when it is time for us to go out there and spend and do the narrative, we don't. So I always tell people, we talk about all these problems. If you listen to my show,
why don't they do that?
Why don't they do that?
Why don't we do the narrative?
Because forgive me, we are elitist. It is true. It is true. I hate to say that, but it is true. And I was at one time as well. I would speak about how can that person be so damn stupid to think that. I would go out there and I would say, wait a minute, you should know better. I would go out and say all these things like, you should know that, right? Look, I'm an engineer. I love numbers, right? And I figure if 1 + 1 is equal to 2, every single one of you should know 1 + 1 is equal to 2. And if you don't know it, there's something wrong with you. And I'm not going to spend my time to try to convince you otherwise because you're just wrong.
We simply know it.
Exactly. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. Yeah. You assume that these people know this thing, right? So my thing is, I'm going to do a plug here for something that I wrote called How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, right? And really, the idea being that first you have to humble yourself to not, when they say something that you think is crazy. And trust me, my sister voted for Trump. Okay? So it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. My sister was a Trumpist. She's an true evangelical Christian. Her church has all the reasons why Trump is the second instantiation of Jesus Christ. And yeah. Hey, I'm just a messenger. And so that is what they believe, right? So how do we approach that? How do we talk to these people to make them start talking? It can't be one person doing it. It can't be two people doing it. It has to be a concerted effort done from all of us, right? And all of us have to be humbled. all of us have to decide, you know what? I'm not going to call my neighbor, which I'm surrounded by them. How could you do that? I want to listen to them and hear exactly why they're doing that. I have a story that I tell in one of my books here, and this is an important one. I live in Kingwood, Texas. I do all my writing, blogging, and everything inside of Starbucks pre-COVID. And this woman comes into the store or to the coffee shop, and she says, "I see you in here every day." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "What do you do?" So I'm like, "Oh, I'm a blogger." And she says, "Okay, what is that?" So we go ahead and we talk about that. Then she says, I don't remember how the conversation changed, but we got into talking about healthcare, and she was having issues with her insurance company. Mine, this is Kingwood, red, Republican, everything. I mean, when my car is parked outside, all my Republican brothers and sisters come out there because they want to have that conversation, and we kind of go at it. Anyhow, she comes in and we started talking about healthcare. And she started to say, I wish this about my healthcare. And we went step by step. And all I was doing was listening and asking her questions. In other words, how would you solve, if you like that, how would you solve that? You don't want to have to get a what you call that when you go to the doctor and
Pre-authorization.
Pre-authorization. You don't want that. You don't want that. And and those damn co-pays, they get you because they send you from one doctor to the next.
Right.
And those co-pays add up. Mm-hmm. So what would you don't want co-pays either, right? No, we should get rid of, and we're doing everything, right? And when she was done describing the healthcare system that she wanted, she was describing what again? This is a Republican. What was she describing, folks?
Obamacare.
No, it's better than Obamacare. Medicare for all, healthcare for all. In other words, she would like if she didn't have to pay premiums. She would like if she didn't have to do all these things, but she liked it. I'm feeling guilty now because I know this woman think I'm this black Republican in Kingwood, given that I'm there all the times, and just white woman comes and she's like, "Hey, this is what we're having this great conversation." And then I feel guilty now. So I said, "Man, I just want to let you know, I'm one of them left-wing, progressive, liberal kind of guys." And she stopped and she said, "But you're so nice."
Where are your horns? Just the front.
We got horns, right? We got horns, man. So she's like, "You're so nice." And then I'm like, "Man, there's a group here in Kingwood called Liberal Ladies Who Lunch. You should go and have lunch with them sometime." And then she I thought, like I said, I was feeling guilty because I figured she thought I was this conservative dude just writing stuff. And anybody who read my stuff know that I'm like way on that side, right? So she comes in and I thought the conversation was going to end. I honestly thought. But you know what it turned out to be? She wanted more. She wanted more. She wanted more. And she kept on talking because finally she came up with the message. She came up with the idea of what she wanted to see in healthcare. And it turned out to be what we have been preaching about all of the times. And what I'm saying is there's this abstraction that the way they look at things that we have to get over. And that's why I said if they feel, and the other thing that they feel is that nobody listens to them. We know that's not true, but if that's what you want to believe, that's fine. Once you earn that degree of trust, where they don't think you look at them as some sort of a oddball, an idiot, a fool, or whatever, that you actually have a human relationship with them, suddenly I have another quick one I want to add here. This one is another one. I was in the gym. This is all pre-COVID back then. I'm in the gym. And I'm working out and in my gym, all red. And in fact, it was a thing. There was a point in this gym when I walked in, some of those guys were, "Hey, there goes the pinko, the pinko." So, there's all kind of stuff.
All the TVs are on Fox News, right?
You know it, right? Yeah, exactly. So anyway, this one time I went into the gym and I'm pulling down and lifting weights. And this guy hit me real hard in the back slap. "Hey, dude, you're going to like what I'm going to tell you. I'm like, okay. What is that? He said, you're going to like who I'm voting for. And I'm like, okay. Who are you voting for? And this was when Beto was running against Ted Cruz. All right? So he said, I am voting the entire Democratic slate. This is a right-wing red Republican. So I looked at him in shock. And before I got a chance to say anything, he said, but I'm no damn Democrat.
That's okay.
So I said, okay. So I mean, one of the things that I use all of the time is I tell folks, look, I'm not trying. Look, our party a lot of times is culture, right? Texas used to be a Democratic state. Then it was made to believe that Democrats had an issue. Democrats became a bit too ethnic to some, and when that occurred, it gave the freedom to many to migrate. Fine. So what I tell folks all the time is, look, when you go into the booth, when you go into the voting booth, remember one thing. Your vote is between you, the machine, and God. You can vote whatever you want and come out and tell all your friends, I voted for Trump. But vote the right way. What are you trying to do? Vote your interest. If we get people to start voting your interest, then it doesn't matter what party they are. It doesn't matter what you want to call yourself. You know, so those are the kinds of principles and things that I push on my show, my blogs, and everything. And I think one of the other things that I like to ask people to do is, guess what all of you guys are? Bloggers. Every single one of you that, yeah, read it. I saw, you went like, no. No, let me tell you what I mean by that, okay? Who reads the Houston Chronicle every day? Who reads newspapers online? Who read anything online? All right? Let me tell you what the difference between a lot of times ourselves and others. How many people read a story and says, that is crazy, or why did they say that? How many people see that and go, you right? Let me show you how you're a blogger now. Everybody gets information over the internet now. Okay? That's how they get. They read comments, they do all these things. If more of us, when people put crazy, you know what, on paper, in comments or whatever, we engage civilly, not with dirty words or obscenities or whatever. Every time I respond to comments, it doesn't matter what they call me, but you guys can imagine the kinds of things that I get called. Okay? It doesn't matter what they call me. I'm always one way, friendly, respectful, with a smile. Why? Because it doesn't matter who folks are. Eventually, it works. And eventually people, even the ones that called you, whatever the things are that they called you, are going to gravitate towards you. And many times you'd even get emails that said, oh, damn, I'm sorry. And talk about changing minds. So again, everybody here's a blogger. Whenever you read stuff, comment. Let yourself be heard. I even blog in the grocery store. If I hear somebody saying something silly, I'll say, hey, how you doing? And by the way, I don't think that is exactly that way and whatever. And, oh, you have a nice day. You're a blogger. You're a verbal blogger. You know, you never we make too much go unanswered. We should kindly, with respect, civilly, with a smile, answer absolutely everything that needs to be answered. And you know what? We'll start changing minds. And with that, I think estoy terminado. I'm done. Any questions that anyone wants to ask?
That's a very sane perspective.
I hope so. Thank you.
Absolutely.
So you have a book
Yes.
to talk about how to talk to your Republican frenemies?
My frenemies? Actually, that's exactly, you listen. Actually, I say talk, right? But believe it or not, when I'm in, like I said, I'm in a red Starbucks, right? I do I would do probably 80% to 90% of listening to see what makes them tick. And then most of the other things that I'm doing is asking them questions. And it's fascinating that the questions that they reply to you with the things that they come up with, and even things as simple as immigration. I tell you another quick story. Sorry, another quick story. There's a guy in Starbucks that comes in all the time, and he hates immigrants, and he thinks immigrants should go back over the border and all of that, right? And I said, really? I said, I'm an immigrant. I'm from Panama. You know, well, you want me to go over the border? No, but you came here legally. How do you know that? How do you know that? You don't know that. But I work hard and I do everything. Anybody who, let me tell you my policy. I'm not saying this should be Democratic policy or anything. My policy is if you are strong enough to step your foot in America or wherever, I don't want to throw you out. Because that showed me that you're ingenious.
Lady said, don't go.
Yeah, that tells me you are an ingenious person, right? Hey, were the Pilgrims ingenious? They came and they said, so anybody who stepped foot in America, but I won't say that politically reasoned. You know, we can't say that. We can't say that. But anyhow, so that's what this guy, I finally explained to him. Then I told him, look, the truth of the matter is immigrants provide much more to the society. And by the way, our social security system would kind of crater if we don't have that, right? And he didn't believe me. So he went ahead and he did some research. And he comes back into Starbucks and he said, hey, Burl, guess what? I want immigration. I'm like, hey? Then I said, but I want to do it the Republican way. And I said, what is Republican way? And then he started to explain. And I said, tell you what I'd like you to do. Write a blog for me. And I'll put it under a pseudonym so that your Republican friends don't see it. And no. I want to write the blog. And you can post it under my name. I'm like, okay. And he came up with immigration policy. I disagreed with how he wanted to do it because, in effect, he wanted to make a buck on, that's on immigration. But it was an answer, right? He had a policy that was going to. So I said, okay, I'll print the blog, and if we could compromise on something like that, hey, that's great. So that is the thing. The thing about it is let folks do their talking and ask them the questions. And generally speaking, because progressives, and I don't want to sound conceited, but progressives are right. Okay? Progressives are right.
I agree.
And if you take a look at the definition of conservatism, there is nothing within the conservative mantra that gives you any hope of progress for anyone. It's just what conservative means, status quo. Right? So you and guess what? Most people want progress. So therefore, most people want progress. Guess what most people are? Progressive. If you doubt it, Elizabeth Warren, I love Elizabeth Warren. She's one of my idols, right? Elizabeth Warren, I went to Netroots Nation and Elizabeth gave a speech and I recorded that speech because it was like, wow, she hit the nail on the head. She ran through a whole lot of polls and she don't ask anybody if they are progressive, liberal, or anything. She goes through the polls and asks the policies that everybody wants. And progressive policies are supported by at least, and I don't kid here, at least 65% of people support the entire progressive mantra. How can we lose elections? How can we lose elections? Narrative.
Disinformation.
Narrative. But even with disinformation, narrative, right? You go out there, look, today on my radio show, I told the folks, hey, Austin is killing you. Okay, we have to make it a gut feeling for people. We don't attack people. We attack the politicians. We don't attack. I don't attack any person. In other words, if you're a Republican person or whatever, I don't want you to ever feel like what we're doing is attacking you. What I want to do, though, is attack the politicians because they're the ones that are actually doing wrong to us all. Not on you, Brother John. Not you. You're a good guy.
I'm actually an engineer pretending to be a boss.
Well, actually, both of us are mechanical engineers. So, yeah. But yeah, so I mean, so that is where that is where I'm at. Okay, that's it. Any other thing that anyone want to ask?
So tell us about Thanksgiving with your sister.
You know what's so funny? Let me tell you how this happened. You remember when COVID just started, right? She was anti-mask, anti-vax, and all of that, like every Republican was. And I called her up and I said, hey, Clara, I know that you're a Trumpist. I know that you don't believe in the mask and all of that. Do you love your brother, yes or no? Of course. Yes, that's a stupid question. How dare you ask that? All right. Then I just want you to do something for me. Wear your damn mask and take the damn vaccine. Okay? I don't care if you want it or not. Just do it for me. And, that's how I worked with my sister. I imagine you'd have to do some other. I have some other friends. There's a friend of mine that refused to take it, and I hounded him for probably the vaccine, that is, and I hounded him for probably 3-4 weeks, and he finally took it. What I try to do is, just work on a personal level. I think things like that you have to work on a personal level. Yes, ma'am.
No,
Oh.
I can't convince my kids to get vaccinated.
Yeah, are they on the other side of the aisle too? Yeah, I mean it's not easy. That's why I always tell folks to just treat folks with respect. And what I use with some as well is remember, and this one is sort of, I don't know how nice this is. I always say is, remember this: if something happens to your kid because you happen to have been wrong, how would you feel? In other words, if something happens, that tends to work with some as well. So
They got a tendency to twist everything anyway.
yes, yeah, but
They've all had COVID.
yeah. But you know what? We're not going to change 100% of people, right? But the thing about it is, as human beings, we succumb a lot to peer pressure. And if we can peer pressure some people into doing some things, sometimes that works. Yes, ma'am.
How do you find the inner patience and zen to talk to some of these people? I just can't sometimes.
And everybody does. I mean, if you can't do it, you can't do it. In other words, and you shouldn't feel guilty for not doing it, right? Like I said, progressives, we know one thing. We are at the position that we are right. So we can, and I really am not saying that to be conceited. Like I was talking to Jaime, and I was telling Jaime, numbers are not enough, but we have the numbers. You have to. The numbers are not enough. I can give you all the statistics, right? What cures poverty? I could give you all those numbers. How you get rid of crime? In other words, the party that believes in family values don't take care of families. I could put that in all these different things, numerically speaking. But people don't think like that. People think in stories, right? So, and that's why if you notice, in my book, I have a whole lot of stories. I just tell them stories. This happened, that happened, that happened. And people then take all these stories and put it together in their heads when they're going to make a change. As far as your how I keep my zen, practice. No, really. I get a lot of people on the radio program call me and give me hell because they think that I give folks on the right too much play. In other words, I will really talk to them and engage in them. And my question to those folks is, why should I engage you? You're already there. You should help me engage them. So the thing is, after you convince yourself that, you remember that phrase when you're young, sticks and stones don't break my bones or something like that? I don't remember, something like that, right?
The names.
Right. So that's why, nothing bothers me. I don't care how they talk to me, tell me stuff or whatever. It kind of just flies over, and I just keep on the particular mission. And again, everybody doesn't have to do that. We just have to have a few who are willing to do that.
Because, for example, I don't engage with my family on politics. Like, it's just become a rule with me at all.
But let me tell you something. Let me just tell you something. Family is where you can actually I have. She comes to the show every day, both shows. She types and everything. And she had a bad thing with her sister. She's up in New York. And one Saturday, she found me and she called me and she was crying her heart out about she went to her sister and she can't believe how MAGA they were and whatever. And I looked at her and I said, don't break. She said, I'm done with them. I'm done with the family. I said, don't break it off, man. Go to your stuff. And every time she tell you something, they say, hey, I love you, and whatever. And a few weeks later, she says, damn, McBurdo, you know what? They still MAGA, but at least they're listening now. So you don't give up on these folks, because guess what? They need a place to land. All right. People need a place to land. And if they don't have a place to land, they'll stay in oblivion. But if they know that they have a place to land, in other words, anybody who I talk to, they know that if they come and tell me, oh man, I've seen they're not going to say I've seen the light, but they come and they say, oh wow, I think I want to do it. They know that I'm not going to say, well, damn it, I told you so. You were a damn fool before. I'm not. You see what I'm saying? So they know that they have a place to land, and that's one of the things that I always tell people: give people a place to land. And yes, ma'am.
I'd like to get your impressions of January 6th and where you think that's going to go.
I can tell you where I hope it's going to go. I hope we have the pelotas to go ahead and put the president in jail. I hope look, it's funny, right? Everything in this country always operates the same way. The people, the peons, those of us who are on the bottom level always get convicted, thrown in jail, and all of that for things that gets done. And if you look at all the 400 or so people that have been thrown in jail or whatever, they weren't the instigators. It's the Trump sycophants and others that's instigators, and they're still walking around. I think if our Justice Department doesn't get Trump and his first line tier, we would have failed. And I don't really have an answer there, but we would have failed if we don't do that. Because again, those guys were programmed to do what they did. Those aren't bad folk that they were programmed. You feel sorry when you watch some of the interviews with these guys. They were programmed to do, they believe this stuff. Like they believe you have horns. They believe you have horns, man. Yeah. Anything else? Yes,
I always thought the Democratic Party represented the majority, working stiffs like you say, and family values.
Yeah.
But it seems like the Republicans have stolen that mantra without the substance. And how a Democrat's going to be able to come back and win back the majority of the people like us?
Well, you scare the hell out of people. You can get them. You can get them to believe anything, right?
But how do we change that?
We have to be in front of people. In other words, right now we stay away from those people who are, those on the other side, right? Look, the divide and conquer really works, right? It actually really works. I go to Tea Party events, right? I go to all these things and the reason I go to these things is because I want folks to know, first of all, I'm not scared of them. That's number one. And number two, I don't hate them. So if I'm not scared of them and I'm willing to engage, the problem is that we allow those people to make a caricature out of us, and then we accept that caricature when I say we accept the caricature, I mean we accept that caricature by not refuting it or by not being there. And my thing is to be engaging all of the times, and you don't have to be rude to be engaging. I mean, on my chat, Daniel Ledo, if you look at the chats that go through with that, it's like he's attacking, and the responses is just one at a time, and it's not for him. It is for everybody that's in the community that's seen all those messages. That even if he's people actually see the response from what a progressive looks like.
How can we hear you, Egberto?
Oh, thank you. PoliticsDoneRight.com is the website for the program, yes, sir.
No, I got it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can go to politics.
Unless you want to pick up the tab.
Oh, no, but you can pick it up for me. PoliticsDoneRight.com is the website. And also, I'm all over. I'm on YouTube, TikTok, everything. So you can go ahead and find, but the name of the program is Politics Done Right. So you can find that everywhere on the internet. And please listen to KPFT 90.1 FM Houston. We're trying to build back our listenership, and you know what happens when you're kind of off your program.
All right.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.